Hey everyone, as promised, here is a tutorial with some breathing techniques. Lately in the fitness world, breathing has become a very hot topic. That's great to see. It's gone beyond the usual inhale and then exhale on the exertion. For people that have been doing martial arts like myself since I was a little kid, martial arts has a long history of breathing techniques and doing different types of practices for its practitioners to understand that breathing, movement, and alignment are all interconnected. And it's essential if you want to learn how to move better, you need to learn how to breathe better. That's something that I think the fitness world is only starting now to understand. For those of you who do jiujitsu, I had promised that I was going to show you the beginning basics of how to do the movement that you see Rickson Gracie doing in that video, choke, where he's rolling his abs. It's a very fun way to focus your breathing practice and to learn something new, learn a little control while many of you are stuck at home right now. So what I want you to do before we get into that is I just want you to think about a few different things and maybe think about the way you think about breathing. Breathing is a really interesting thing because it's the one thing that we do automatically, but we can also control it. Having control over it can help you in a lot of different things. If you're trying to calm down, for example, what does everyone take? Or what is everyone told to take? That's right, take a deep breath, right? Take a big and then you start to do whatever it is, the activity that you're about to do. If, on the other hand, your kind of nervous system isn't amped up enough, you're not excited enough for what you're about to do, sometimes people will do different breathing techniques to try and increase their kind of emotional state and get psyched up for maybe an athletic performance or a different type of performance. So, understanding how to control your breathing, being able to manipulate it, can have a tremendous effect on calming you down or getting your nervous system to rise up to the task that you're about to demand of it. It's also very useful, very important for doing obviously different types of lifts. When you're getting ready and you're about to lift, you want to be able to pressurize in a way that's meaningful so that you can create a solid structure that can support the load that you're trying to lift. If you're just kind of breathing and you're doing a little bit of a chest breath and then trying to lift, you're going to find that you're very weak and you're leaking power all here, and then of course this is the road to injury. A lot of people, when you ask them to take a breath because they're never trained it or never really were shown any of these things, and because of the way that they live, their kind of movement diet, they end up with a chest breath. So I'll show you what I mean. If you tell someone take a deep breath, often you see this, right? Again. So this is kind of big chest breath, maybe longer, but again, it's just a chest breath. So you end up with basically what would look like this. That's my little chest breath, right? So that's about as much air as I get from just doing a chest breath. On the other hand, if you start to fill up and you fill up from the bottom up, so you're breathing in and it looks more like you end up with something very different. So in our breath practice, we want to be efficient, just like in our movement practice. We want to be as efficient as we can. So we don't want this tiny little chest breath, which is not efficient at all. We want to use a big breath that starts from the bottom and moves all the way up and moves around. All right? Now, we can start to learn how to do this in many different ways. The first thing that's important, and I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of it just to give you the idea. When we teach this at courses, it's quite extensive, and really to do it justice, I can't do a short little video, okay? But what you can do is you can understand this. A lot of people just sit down and they start doing different kind of breathing or exercises. Most breathing exercises that you see people doing these days are from yoga, and they're fantastic. Yoga has a long history on exploring breath and how it connects with movement and alignment. Many of today's fitness gurus that are teaching their breathing methods are teaching yoga. Some of them doing a good job at it. Some of them teaching very poor version of yoga, but nonetheless, it's yoga. You can look at the world of apnea, right? Free diving. Again, you'll see great people teaching very good yoga work for breath that they apply to free diving. But no matter what system you're looking at, and no matter where you're looking, one of the first things that people should be introducing, one of the first things you should be taught, is that you need to warm up and you need to work on your flexibility and your mobility. If you don't work on the flexibility and mobility, in particular here, what it's going to be like when you're trying your breath practice and you're trying to inhale and expand and fill everything up 360 degrees, without that flexibility, especially in the rib cage, what you're going to end up with is something that would look like going to a yoga class wearing a suit of armor. So you imagine walking into a yoga class and you're like, and trying to bend over with your suit of armor. Doesn't matter how good the teacher is, doesn't matter how good the technique is, if you can't move freely, you're going to have a problem. So the same thing here. I can give you all kinds of tips and different techniques and drills you can do where you can, block one nostril and do alternate nostril breathing and all kinds of different things. Breath hold practice. Nothing will be effective if you don't work on your stretching first. Okay? So there's lots of different things that we can do. One of the things we're going to do right now is just going to be here. You're just going to hollow and then expand and breathe in. Out. Expand and breathe in. And I want you, when you're hollowing out here, really hollow out and then inhale. So back and forth working here, okay? Do 10, 20, and then what I want you to do, here I'll make the shirt just a bit tighter here. You're gonna move from your rib cage. Try not to do the I'm a little teacup, that's not what we're looking for. Just pushing out from the rib cage. Now, if you're saying, Sean, but mine's broken, mine doesn't do that. Well, that's okay. Just have the intention. Even if you're kind of doing a bit of this, don't worry about it. Just moving side to side. Okay, back and forth. Try to relax. Try to open things up. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to do a big inhale, move it to the side, move around the back, other side, and in front. So just concentrating on getting this moving. Then we're going to move the other way. Back and forth, okay? There's all kinds of different things you can do. We can work on side bends like this to kind of loosen things up. Definitely do your warm-up. I don't have the space right now to start to go into a big warm-up so that I can get into these. I just want to show you some basic exercises where we can start to develop some flexibility and plasticity here, okay? Once you've got that going on, and you can move a little bit, we can do a few rotations, hand up in front, push this hand forward as you pull, draw this one back. You can even look in the back. So if I'm here, I'm gonna push this one. This one's gonna go forward, I'm gonna pull back. And then switching side to side. Keep your feet grounded, keep your hip bones, imagine you have two headlights, they're pointing forward as I'm rotating back and back. So we're just trying to get everything here moving and get it loosened up. So many people, even really fit people, they're tight. They spend a lot of time working on stabilizing this midline, but they don't spend a lot of time on being able to move it. So you end up with somebody who looks like this, and they just walk around like they have a 2x4 nailed to their back. I mean, you look like you have a hose stuck up your ass. So the muscles may look nice, but this kind of look is not functional for anything, all right? So you want to be able to still move. Okay, can you imagine somebody who wants to go play basketball and they're like, hey bro, let's go. Okay, we don't want that. We want somebody that can move back and forth nice and easy. All right, what I want you to do, and I might be able to do it with this little gadget that I'm recording with, is I want you to get used to the idea of kind of breathing here for right now. Okay, you're just going to take a big inhale, try and move your hand. Relax and let it fall down. Okay, just here. Fill up here and let it out. A cool thing you can do, okay? I'm gonna see if we can get this to follow me. I'm gonna come down here, try and get some of the dog toys out of the way. Take your shoes or your slippers. You're gonna put one on your chest, one on your stomach, All right? And from here, just breathing in and out, I'll move my knees, but you can do this with your knees bent. Your head's gonna relax and be on the floor. You're just gonna get the shoe that's on your stomach as you're breathing in and out. Just get the shoe on your stomach to move. So it's only this one. Take slow breath in, count to let's say 10. So slowly in, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it for a count of 5. 5. Okay, now your stomach is going to be up, and now you're going to relax. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's only the shoe where your stomach is that's rising and falling. This shoe on your chest should be moving up and down. So this can be a helpful exercise just to give you the idea and to start to understand that when we fill up, I want to fill up here all the way around and up. Think about when you're doing a lift and you're bracing with the bar and I want to pressurize. I want 360, I want pressure here. I don't want to just go and breathe up high into my chest, okay? Bringing more attention here, there's lots of different exercises that we can play with. I mentioned earlier, for people that practice jiu-jitsu, I think everyone who practices jiu-jitsu has seen the movie Choke, knows who Rickson Gracie is. If you haven't and you're watching this and you do jiu-jitsu, turn this off immediately, go watch Choke, and then come right back. You can find it on YouTube, okay? You'll see Rickson Gracie doing an exercise from yoga in there where he's rolling his abs, okay? And I remember when I saw it, I thought it was super cool. The first time I saw a Choke, I was like, oh, what's he doing? I have to learn how to do it. So I was taught how to do it by a couple of my yoga teachers, Mark Darby and his son Shankara. They both helped me to learn and understand this technique. The technique is, it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of practice. Some people will get it very quick. Other people will not get it right away. It'll take a little bit of effort. It's definitely worth your effort. Anything that requires you to get a deeper understanding and more control over how to move your body is worth playing around with. So I'm just going to show you the basics, okay? So first thing we're going to do is you're just going to learn how to do a vacuum. So what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in, okay? So we're going to breathe out, in, and then let all your out. Okay, it's hard to talk when I'm holding. So what you can see I'm doing is I'm taking a breath in from my nose, breathing out through my mouth. Then I'm gonna almost like swallow and lift everything up and create that vacuum. So again. So you see, as I swallow, it kind of pulls up and it creates that vacuum. From this vacuum, the next phase is going to be to kind of push your abs forward. The middle is going to go forward while the sides stay back. So watch first. You can start to see it move. I'm going to lower the camera and make your life a bit easier, okay? So here, sorry for the shaking, guys. Okay, watch again. There, in that last frame, you can see, right, how it's pulling in, pushing out. You may be trying this, looking at your stomach like a lunatic in your house, and nothing is happening. Don't panic. Just have the intention of making it happen. It's going to take some time, it's going to take some practice. What I'm doing is I'm showing you kind of the basics. What you can sometimes do, which helps a lot, is kind of grabbing your legs and trying to push forward here, okay? Also, if you have just eaten or you just drank, this is a lot harder to do. Doesn't mean you can't do it, it's just harder. It's easier on an empty stomach, okay? So again, breathe in, everything out. Relax. Okay, so once you got the in and out happening, you're gonna start to roll the abs. The easiest way for right now is kind of push on one leg, then push on the other. That alternating is gonna get it rolling, okay? So watch. I know, freaky, a little bit weird. Patience, it's not gonna happen right away. Pushing on the legs is definitely gonna help. You can do the same thing sitting down with the use of the hands, pushing on the legs to help you fire the muscles you need to fire. Otherwise, stand up. It's gonna be much easier for you guys. That's why we're doing it like this now. Okay, one more time, I'm gonna show you again. All right, so it's a fun little party trick. This is gonna take you a bit of time to develop, but it's more than a party trick. I remember even learning how to press the handstand and just trying to feel what it would be like to kind of pull up and get up, talking to somebody who already had their press the handstand. And they asked me if I knew this exercise. I said, yeah. They said, listen, it's not the same thing, but there's a feeling similarity. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay. Just having that, as I said, that depth of understanding of how breathing, movement, and alignment are connected are always helpful in your movement practice. In terms of your breath work, this is something that you can do that'll help you kind of develop your connection between what's happening in your diaphragm and being able to get some control in that area. There are different practices that you can do. There are different books that you can look at. I'm always a big fan of telling people, I was looking at my bookshelf for a book for you guys. I can't find it at this moment, but as I said, yoga has a very steep, rich history of breath exercises. And rather than following all these different, fitness gurus for breathing techniques, look where they looked and go to the source. That's a great place for you to start to pick up these exercises and develop them into practice. Go to a local yoga teacher who is experienced with these techniques, and they can start to show you and teach you how to, develop a breath practice. It can be very meditative, especially for people that aren't necessarily the type that would be drawn to meditation. These practices, because it's a practice, can really help you get into meditation without having to sit there and struggle with trying to clear your mind. You have a very definitive thing that you might work on in your breath practice, trying to do a certain amount of inhales, a certain amount of exhales. One of my favorite things you can do, there's an Apnea App. There are many of them, but there's one in particular that you can download it, I know, for Apple, and I'm sure for Android as well. Just look up freediving, look up apnea, and there's one in particular that's really good because it adjusts to you. After you've done a certain breathing series, it'll have pranayama, which is the yoga breathing. It has that built in, and it also has like the apnea, where it's just breath holding. And the breath holding is really interesting practice. It'll help you for freediving if you're into that. But also, again, it's very meditative, so you can play around with that. Give you something for right now in these times where a lot of us are quarantined and stuck in our houses. It'll give you something to practice. Just because you're stuck in your house and maybe you can't get to the gym, you can't play with weights, that's no reason not to be learning something and to be playing around with something. Take this time to develop a new skill, a new understanding, and maybe a deeper understanding of the skills you already have. I hope this helps. If you have some questions about just the basics of this move, it's kind of hard to teach in a 20-minute video online, but like I said, just trying to move your diaphragm, just trying to move your abs, just trying to get things working like I just did in this video is going to be a helpful practice. It's not going to happen right away, so you have to practice patience, which is something we all have to practice these days. All right, guys, if you have any questions, post them below, and I hope everyone's taking care. I'll talk to you soon.